Hello, 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 ladies and gelatins. We are back to 428 Shibuya Scramble. Yeah, probably an inappropriate level of shenanigans for the kind of chill we're about to have in the story. But then again, it's also very ridiculous, and I feel like the creators would be down with that level of shenanigans. So yes, we were at the very beginning of Tama's story here. So let's find out what happens. I think we're about to make the first decision or something. Tama. End bed. And then I remember something. Zipper down my back might be busted, but I can still take the head off, right? That way, at least be able to eat and drink stuff. All right. I decide to grab the head in both hands and yank it upward with all my might. Rock the head back and forth, good and hard. Ask Chidi to assist me. I don't trust Chidi at this point. I'll just go for it. Just grab the head and yank it upwards with all my might. Oh, come on. No matter how hard I pull, it won't come off. How a dull pain throbs at the back of my head. Did I smack it against something at some point? Chidi flashes me a curious look. What are you doing? She asks. I thought maybe I could at least get the head off. I try pulling again, refusing to give up. That ain't gonna work. The thing's attached to the body. I slump forward in defeat, face planting on the tabletop. No. Also, hello, Kira. Thank you for the hydrate. I will have some water. Most folks would have noticed that when they put it on, you know. Well, I didn't. The boss helped me get into it, is the thing. Well, don't let it get you down, Judy says. Here, drink some of this. She pulls a bottle out with a straw from her bag and pours some of the tea into it. In a fever of thirst, I jam the plastic straw through the mascot's costume mouth. Thankfully, it reaches as far as my own. I suck for all I'm worth. I suck and I suck and I suck and I suck. My body rejoices as the moisture returns to it like rain coming to a desert. No, not completely evil. And thus, I revive. Actually, it kind of does feel like I'm coming back to life. Oh, thank you so much. I'm never gonna forget this as long as I live. With tears welling up in my eyes, I clutch Chidi's hand in my fuzzy mitts. Oh, hey, I'm not the kind of person who abandons someone in need, you know? She replies. An embarrassed grin crosses her face. How come you're carrying this bottle around with you anyways? I ask. Oh, it's because I make my own protein juice. Protein juice? Never heard of it. Heard that if you have protein juice for one of your 3 meals a day, you lose weight. So yeah, I kind of need to keep it. Given Chidi's sort of, well, chubby frame, I don't think the protein's been working so great for her. Been trying all sorts of stuff, but right now protein is totally the best thing for my diet. This stuff, though, she casts her eyes at the samples of burning hammer on the table. It's like, totally bogus. Huh? Bogus? That's a surprise. Well, yeah, Chidi says, you've got to exercise if you want to burn body fat. Yes. Burn. The best way to burn fat is to engage in steady, low-intensity aerobic exercise. After roughly 20 minutes of such exercise, the body burns through its available blood sugar, and the brain sends signals to have fat brought into the bloodstream. This is how fat is burned. Anaerobic exercise, which leaves you panting and breathless, is not effective. This is some old science. I'm not certain. I don't think that's true. But hey, you know what? That's okay. Smacks myself on a flabby arm. I mean, there's no way you're gonna lose weight by taking in more calories. Wait, didn't she say she was drinking protein juice to lose weight? I keep that thought to myself. I mean, that'd be as ridiculous as all you can eat Kobe beef, she adds. She shakes her head seriously. I'm not sure about using all you can eat anything as an example in a discussion about weight loss. But again, I keep the thought to myself. Hey, a job's a job, Judy says after a moment, perking up again. They tell me to sell this junk, I'll sell it. A sudden wailing comes from the other side of the door. Please, just give me time. I swear I'll get it back to you. What the heck? She says. Is that the boss? I nod. That's definitely Mr. Yanagashita's voice. He's the guy who hired me. Sidling up alongside Chidi, I very quietly open the door and take a peek inside. Mr. Yanagashita is down on his hands and knees begging while two uncouth-looking men glower at him. Just a little more time, that's all I ask, he pleads. Once I sell this stuff, I can pay you back. I see a tiny bottle of burning hammer in his hand. Just a little more, mimics the middle-aged fellow. I just gotta sell this. We've heard enough of this out of you. Yeah, the younger guy sneers. We ain't giving you any more time, so quit asking. I really just need a little longer this time. Please, you gotta believe me. From the looks of things, Mr. Yanagashita's dealing with some loan sharks. Though it seems obvious this term refers to toothy predators of the deep, the word shark in this case actually has its origins in an older Germanic word meaning parasite or someone who preys on others. The same word gave rise to the terms pool shark and card shark. In the case of a loan shark, though, the initial mental image seems quite appropriate. Stop exercise shaming me, kid. Right? And the two thugs are clearly in no mood for his continued groveling. Judy and I exchange a glance. It's probably best if we don't go out there right now. Now I'm really worried. I'm actually gonna get paid for this gig? As I'm pondering that, one of the men grabs Yanagashita by the nape of his neck and drags him to his feet. Come with us, pal. We'll take you someplace you can, work off your debts. Say what? Mr. Yanagashita wails. The two men drag him away. Huh. Guess he's gone then, she says. She's already starting to pack up her things. Wait, what are you doing? I ask. Going home. Not much point sticking around. Going home? I mean, the demo sure ain't happening now. Anyways, it was nice working with you. See ya. Moments later, Chidi is out the door. Now what do I do? I've been left here all by myself. More or less. At a total loss. Box stream sharks may be bad end. Shift's over. Our poor feline friend isn't gonna get paid now those debt collectors showed up and dragged her boss away. If a certain someone hadn't told the thugs how to get to Nokane building, they probably wouldn't have caught Yanagashita. It happens at 11:15, but who has to make it? Okay. So 11:15. Okay. Time chart. 11:15 is here, but we actually have no idea who else is involved with stuff. So you know what? Let's just go to the other person's story. And then again, hold on. No. Hold on. No. Skip. Okay, 11:15 is here, but like, okay, yeah, it's literally someone else. Hello, Algul. Welcome. No, I want to go to the character selection. Chapter select chapter. No, I don't want to. No. Okay, time chart. Blocks are shown above. Yeah. It can only affect other. Yes. I don't. No, I only care about this time block. Okay. Let's try to just look at whoever is here. Let's find out who all these characters are in this time block and go from there. Wealth, status, honor. None of these mean anything to me. All I want is a peaceful life, to put worry behind me, to stay calm and serene, to be free of worldly concerns. Yoshikage, free at any cost. A cheery rhythm pumped from the CD player set up against the study wall. It was the latest hit from Aya Kamihi, the songwriter sensation who was blowing up the pop charts. Kenji Osawa reached for the stereo remote on his desktop. He ratcheted the volume up a little louder. He looked like the sort of man who'd be more interested in classical music, but in fact, he was a huge fan of the girl rock popular with middle schoolers. Closing his eyes, he swayed back and forth in time with the music, humming his favorite lyrics under his breath, but his movements faltered. It's no use. Aya's voice usually soothed whatever ailed him, but today even she couldn't help. Today, Osawa was a complete wreck, in both body and mind. Oh, virus. Mounds of paperwork were scattered across the desktop of his study. All of it about viruses and vaccines. It had only been a week since he'd returned from a business trip to his company's branch office in the US, and he was slated to go back in another week's time. There was a truly staggering amount of work he needed to get through while he was at home. Suddenly remember the game. Surprise! It is the game, and it can be. He picked up one of the papers, glanced at it aimlessly, then tossed it back onto the desk. Slumping back in his chair, he let out a long, deep sigh. He was in no mental state to work right now. A faint knock at the door barely roused him from his torpor. "Director, may I come in?" It was his vice director, Mamoru Tanaka. "Sure, door's open." Tanaka came into the study. "I know it's not a great time, but..." Sawa could barely make out his words. He tapped the remote, lowering the volume of the music. Tanaka continued apologetically. "A call came in from the lab. They're hoping for a response to the email they sent yesterday." "Sure they don't need it today?" "Apparently they do need an answer as soon as possible, sir. I did ask them to give you some more time, but..." Oh yeah, this is very super serious. Yeah, it's like every single character has a different vibe about it, and I like that a lot. Same. Honestly, same. "I see," Osawa said wearily. "All right, then." Tanaka dipped his head slightly and slipped out of the room. Osawa contemplated his colleague. Tanaka was a man he could truly depend on. He has enough of his own work to do. He didn't need to come here again today, but he did. They'd been working in close concert ever since Osawa had gotten back to Japan. Without Tanaka's support, there was no way he would be in a mindset to do any work at all right now. Sidling up to his computer, Osawa opened up his email program and started answering the work-related messages. That's like the most... He started answering his emails. Like, as a lot of extra nouns and adjectives for that. He reported on his business travel expenses, offered his opinions on capital investments, requested confirmation on current medical stockpiles. He worked with bleak detachment. None of this meant anything to him right now. Then a new email appeared in his inbox. The sender was identified simply as "Ah." The subject line read, "1 year ago, South Africa." The message body was blank, but there appeared to be multiple images attached. Ordinarily, Osawa would have deleted a message like this immediately, assuming it contained some kind of virus. But the word South Africa drew his attention. Could this possibly be related to... Couldn't help but wonder. For a long moment, he hovered the cursor over one of the image files. At last, as if spurred on by the upbeat rhythm in his ears, he double-clicked the mouse. What is this? The grainy photograph showed a large room with a dozen or so people laid out in beds. It appeared to be some sort of medical ward. So I felt a strange flutter in his chest. He quickly opened another image. This one showed a close-up of one of the patients in his bed. Large red blotches covered his face. A large volume of blood appeared to be dripping from his ears and nostrils. A cold shudder ran up Osawa's spine. What the hell? These symptoms. Osawa opened up the remaining image files. Each new picture showed another of the patients. They all appeared to be teetering on the brink of death. There was no doubt about it. These people were infected with The UA virus. The UA virus. The UA virus belongs to the family Filoviridae, a genus UA-like virus. Okay. It is a member of the same family as the Ebola virus and causes the UA virus fulminant hemorrhagic fever. It is capable of airborne transmission, although an infected individual cannot pass on the infection before symptoms manifest. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, have assigned the virus to risk 4, their classification for the most dangerous infective agents. But how? Questions tumbled through Osawa's mind. His fingers tapped out a quick message. He doubted he'd get a response, but he might as well try. Who are you? Where are these images from? The UA virus, did we start with something else? UA virus 2! Oh my god, there's part 2 of it. The virus is roughly 9 nanometers to 110 nanometers in diameter and some length. Because of its pronounced sickle-like shape, it is sometimes known as the sickle of death. It possesses a viral envelope, the surface of which is coated with spike-shaped protein, the protuberances. It's a billionth of a meter, just in case. It got its name from a Swahili word for flower. Supposedly, this was based on the fact that the propagated form of the virus resembled the petals of a flower. Despite the flowery name, however, the disease was anything but pretty. Ua doesn't just mean flower, it also meant to kill. And as the name suggested, the virus had a mortality rate of 100% in those it managed to affect. Because most details regarding the UA virus have been suppressed, cases of the UA infection are largely unknown to the world at large, because all patients known to be infected with the virus on official record have died within a short time frame. The mortality rate is given as 100%. As the incidence of known cases grows, the number may drop below 100%, but the mortality rate will likely remain extraordinarily high. Moreover, there was a very short incubation period between the infection and the onset of symptoms. Inhaled viral particles can spread from the lungs to lymph nodes and from there disperse throughout the body. The virus propagates in several places, including liver cells and macrophages, a component of the immune system, and destroys the endothelial cells within blood vessels. Upon reaching the brain, it forms a neural sludge of blood mixed with other bodily fluids. Within roughly 12 hours, bleeding would set in throughout the body, everywhere but the bones and muscles, with lethal results. Due to its incredibly high mortality rate, the disease's very existence had been kept hidden from public knowledge. Osawa's computer chimed to signify the arrival of a new email. Wonder if Category 4 is the highest ever danger level for viruses. Yeah, right? If there's a 5, yeah, exactly. No, I'm pretty sure 4 is the highest danger level. Like, it's literally on par with Ebola, which, like, as we all know, is a very super scary, very deadly disease. So I have to imagine it's probably the highest one. So his computer chimed to signify the arrival of a new email. The sender was He hurried to open the message. Once again, the subject line read, 1 year ago, South Africa. Your crimes. Osawa stared at those 2 words, my crimes, that left him only with further questions. He looked again at the images from the previous email. What makes any of this my crimes? He could see the patient's bleeding was severe. He estimated that several hours had passed since the onset of the disease. It would be long before their lives were cut short. To feel that agony, that suffering, and then to perish, am I to blame for that? Another faint knock came at the door. Darling, do you have a moment? It was his wife, Give me just a second now. Yes, come in. Let's see what happens. Does he close it? Or not? I stepped into the study, the room filled with the scent of her perfume. Have you reconsidered the whole America thing? She asked. This again, Osawa thought sullenly to himself. Please, he said, can we not discuss this right now? If not now, then when? You know this isn't a decision to just make on your own. On his latest business trip, a major American pharmaceutical firm had attempted to headhunt him, asking him to join them and be among the top researchers in the world. The money and prestige held no interest for him, and he was reluctant to turn his back on Okoshi Pharmaceutical after his many years of service. Okoshi Pharmaceutical, the pharmaceutical company for which Kenji Osawa works, is a major corporation with a solid sales network both domestically and internationally, and an annual turnover of 1 trillion yen. It holds patents for several medications that are in demand worldwide and is influential at the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare and other political institutions. The company employs roughly 7,000 people, including 600 researchers. Nonetheless, he was intrigued by the offer. It would mean the chance to conduct his virus research in a much better funded environment. Taking the job would necessitate relocating to the US, however. When he'd mentioned the possibility of emigrating to Ai, she shot down the idea on the spot. Her opposition was understandable. Ai's father, Suguru Makino, was a member of Okoshi Pharmaceuticals' board of directors. No way was he going to let Osawa jump ship to another company. Darling, please. I drew in closer to him. Think about it from my perspective. If you leave for America, what am I supposed to tell my father? He'd gotten so used to it, that grating line of hers. Have you considered what might happen to Okoshi if you leave, dear? We can discuss that once all this is finished. Osawa kept his voice as level as he could. You do remember you're a director, right? I said. You have responsibilities. Stop thinking about yourself so much. With a sour look, I turned and departed. It's literally the same picture of this guy over and over. He just has that look on his face forever. Well, he had known that moving to America would never be a simple matter, regardless of what his wife thought about it. There was another reason, however, the antiviral agent that he had developed at Okoshi. Antiviral agent, a therapeutic drug used to treat viral infections. Examples include the drugs used against influenza and HIV. These treatments do not eliminate the infection, rather, they simply inhibit the development of the disease. There's still many issues with such drugs, including the risk that treated viruses possess or develop a resistance that makes the treatment ineffective. Academic institutions and pharmaceutical companies worldwide devote tremendous resources to further advancing the field of antiviral medicine. Yeah, viruses are super hard to deal with. We pretty much just can't and don't. After the UA virus was discovered, infectious disease research facilities worldwide had thrown themselves into a top-secret effort to develop a vaccine. I think we all know what a vaccine is, actually, but you know what? Let's read it anyways. Vaccine. Vaccines function by safely introducing a harmless or No, it's fine. We know what a vaccine is. It makes you make antibodies for a thing before it happens. We all had some vaccines recently. But Makino had ordered Osawa to work on creating an antiviral agent, not a vaccine. A vaccine immunized the subject in order to prevent infection in the first place. Conversely, an antiviral agent could be used to treat patients already infected. Right? We all may or may not know about To be fair, honestly, I feel like there's an upsetting amount of people who still don't actually know how vaccines work. But yes, a lot of people have been recently reminded how they work, since I'm pretty sure we were all taught in biology. But to be fair, does everyone remember everything from school? Absolutely, positively not, and that's okay. Learning, though, is available everywhere. It was a so-called wonder drug that for combating the virus itself. Creating such a drug was far easier said than done. Developing the antiviral had been a long, arduous road. That's true. I mean, that's actually a good time to explain what a vaccine is. When a kid is old enough to ask why they have to get shots, it's a good time to explain to them how it works. Only after years of research had Osawa's team succeeded in identifying a substance that might qualify as an antiviral agent for UA. In theory, if it was administered during the viral's initial stages, 100% recovery could be attained. Data also suggested an 80% survival rate for patients treated shortly after the onset of symptoms. But there was a fatal flaw with a new antiviral agent. The side effects on the body were unusually potent. If it was administered in amounts beyond a certain threshold, it would link to life-threatening complications. For a time, the research was at an impasse. It had seemed that the drug had to be administered in high volume to combat the explosive propagation of the Ua virus. But then Osawa had received some fortuitous news. Okoshi's Pharmaceuticals nanotechnology branch had engineered a cutting-edge device known as the DDS. Nanotechnology, hey y'all? Technology created operated extremely small scale, often measured in nanometers. Some nanotech devices are literally regulated on the atomic level. The possibilities are ever expanding in practical fields such as medicine and materials science. The United States is among the world leaders, not anymore. DDS, acronym for Drug Delivery System. Such a system administers ultra-microscopic drug capsules to a targeted area of the body. Nani? Nanotechnology? Families, weird vaccines. They get very sick as a result. Oof. I've had my own weirdness from normal vaccine stuff. Yep. Yeah. No, the thing is that, like, the thing about vaccines, as we all know, is it's about herd immunity. Like, it's not about, like, because there are people who have side effects from vaccines. There are people who get side effects from everything. There are people who get side effects from placebos. Like, you can always end up with some kind of side effects, and bodies are weird, and we do not fully understand them 100%. Oh, yeah, no, it didn't sound like you were against them at all. Like, I think it's any risks in those cases, it's still worth the risks of, like, I don't know, not getting whooping cough or things like that, especially as a baby, where it will literally kill you. But, like, or other things. But still, it's still important to get those. It's still important to work with those. But the fact is, there are people who can't get vaccines, which is why it's important for as many people who can get vaccines to get vaccines. So that way, the chance of them coming into contact with someone who has it is extremely low. That's the whole point of herd immunity. Like, because there are people who are completely, totally immunocompromised and cannot have even a vaccine. They rely on other people getting it. Yeah, not eating them. Multiple waves of things. There are a lot of them where you do get multiple waves of them, and there are also some people whose immune system just doesn't want to learn from vaccines. And this is actually one of the reasons. Like, you are one of the reasons why everyone else needs vaccines, because it sounds like your body, like, doesn't want to learn from vaccines. Because that's really what it is. Like, if you're not getting the antibodies, it means your body's like, I don't know what this is, but it's gone now, so I guess we don't care anymore. And so, yeah, again, we don't know what people's situation are. We don't even, like, and you're actually kind of lucky in that, because you actually did get tested for that, right? Like, you 100% wouldn't know if the doctors had to just decided to not actually take those titers and see if you had antibodies for things. You would just be walking around thinking you're totes good. But yeah, it's brutal. It's something for flus that could bring super flus. Oh, that's fun. Yeah. Bodies are weird. Everyone has definitely at least 5 completely 100% medically weirdly unique things about their body, I swear. Like, 5 is 100% arbitrary number, but, like, it seems to be about right. At least 5. Could be hundreds, but it's at least 5. Yeah, no, I feel you. I totes feel you. But hey, like, some people are like, oh, I'll just get the disease and then get the antibodies for it that way. It's like, well, sure. If you want to risk death or even just have a really terrible time. Exactly. 95% of the even 90, even 80% is a great number. But simultaneously nearly indestructible and ultra fragile. It is the strangest thing. I have definitely had moments where I've just sat there and thought very hard about, like, how terrifyingly fragile bodies are, but also weirdly resilient. It's so strange. Like, the amount of things people can go through and still live, and the amount of things people went through before modern medicine and still live and recovered and healed is crazy. And then, like, then there are things that'll just, like, you can get a splinter the wrong way and die. Like, you can rub your eye after, like, forgetting that you touched a river or something, and or just rub your eye in the wrong place after touching literally anything in nature and end up with some, like, brain-eating amoeba. You have no idea. Like, it is the weirdest dice roll that we make with our lives every second of the day, and especially, like, people who drive cars. Oh, those are the 2-ton death machines. Oh, buddy. Those are super dangerous, but most of the time, nothing happens. Most of the time, everything's fine. But boy, howdy. Yeah, right? Right? Sleep with the wrong pillow or whatever and just wake up and, like, your neck is destroyed and stiff and you just can't do anything. Like, I definitely had a moment, like, I was in high school, so I was young. Like, this is not even like a, oh, my bones are getting older type of thing. Like, listen, I am far from old, but even then, like, I'm just setting the stage for, like, literally a child, effectively. And I woke up one day and I literally could not turn my head to the left. I just couldn't. It hurt. I cried, and even holding my head up was just extremely painful. I have no idea why I didn't actually, I kind of know why I didn't tell my parents or anyone at school or anything. Like, I told someone who I was friends with, but, like, man, oh my gosh, I'm just remembering how much stuff, like, pain and physical discomfort I put up with just because I didn't think it mattered or that anyone cared. That's kind of dark. Anyways, so basically, yeah, it was just like, I just woke up like that. And it got better in, like, 2 days. It was better a little bit the next day, and then, like, the third day, it was finally gone. But it took a while, and it was really weird, and I have no idea what happened. It just never happened again. Who knows? Bodies are weird. But yeah, and then, like, you can, like, and it's the same thing with, like, kids. Kids are hecka resilient. They're basically bouncy. Like, they will fall off of slides and stuff, but, like, at the same time, kids are super fragile. They have terrible immune systems, like, and they all sorts of, like, get bounced off their head. Right, it's just, like, they're very resilient. They're quite bouncy, but at the same time, they are very susceptible to so many things, and so many things can go wrong with just, like, growing up, right? It's honestly super crazy. I don't understand bodies at all. I don't understand humans at all. I don't think anyone does. It's kind of part of the fun, but it's also part of what makes being alive super terrifying. We all do our best. We've made it this far, right? Anyway, so Osawa had jumped on it immediately by administering his antiviral agent with the nanotech DDS. DDS part, what? There's a video. Guys, there's a video inside this. Hold on. It has sound. Yes, that was a very necessary image. Let's watch that again. It can deliver a drug with pinpoint precision and only where it's needed, greatly reduce the side effects of even very potent drugs. No, like, this kind of stuff is really cool. It's real. It's not like a fake thing either. Like, that's legit. It's just, wait. Hard, Kira, that is a great way to put it. Hard agree. The only thing more terrifying than being alive is the prospect of not. Correct. That's 100% correct, which is why we can't ever think about it too hard, or else things get really wonky in your brain, because, like, that's not how you're supposed to think. Sonic camera cancer cells. Yes. There's so much cool stuff, honestly, going on with nanotech and drug delivery systems and all that stuff, and, like, I even love, like, the surgery robots. Those are great. The procedure was a huge success. There was a marked increase in the drug's efficacy, along with the expected decrease in adverse side effects. So, yeah, Drugs can have good and bad things happen. Adverse things are bad things. I'm not reading the whole thing, but I will summarize it. The effects had been confirmed via animal testing. Oh, okay, this one might be interesting. There's something that's not just explaining what it is. Experiments involving drugs or medical techniques tested on animals to confirm their safety before they're used on humans. The 1964 Declaration of Helsinki, which lays out ethical standards for human experimentation, advocates responsible animal testing. But many animal rights advocates regard such testing as a form of animal cruelty. I'm always mixed on this one, too. I'm always mixed on the animal testing thing, personally. Like, I feel like I understand why it's a thing, but I also feel like a lot of times it's not super helpful. See, programmable nanotech out there, we can customize everything to make our bodies literally custom. Oh, man, that would be super cool. Clinical trials. Okay. Alright, okay. Well, this might be interesting. When a new drug is being prepared for government approval, after it's been tested on animals, it must pass tests on humans, clinical trials, that evaluate its safety and suitability. Such tests are frequently conducted on both patients and healthy individuals. They will pay you for these things, but it's also kind of weirdly, like, imagine the kind of people who are signing up for clinical trials, generally speaking, they're usually, like, they find either they know someone who has struggles with similar disease or problems, or they're people who are desperate for money. Take it or leave it. If that's really 100% ethical, like, yeah, they're volunteering, but in Japan, the development of new drugs is often hindered by insufficient legal infrastructure for conducting clinical trials, resulting in a smaller knowledge base and fewer opportunities for testing. Yes, Corpo's providing software. Well, the thing is, the nanotech, like, most of it has expiration date anyways, so they can't continue to charge you for stuff forever. But at the same time, if it expires on purpose, then they'll keep charging you to keep giving you the thing. The problem is that cures don't make money. What makes money is treatment. Treatment makes so much money. Treatment is great. Like, medical companies love treatment. They don't like cures. However, people like cures and researchers like cures and they want to get cures. There's also the fact that there are some companies who do want cures because then they can be the ones to sell the cure and it could be on them, right? There are some people who want to cure stuff, but it's difficult. It is difficult, and capitalism ruins everything. It's true. It's true. See, animals worked on. Yeah, I do value humans more than animals. I feel the same about that. Like, the thing is, I'm not certain it's always being done as humanely as possible. It's just, I know a lot of people and a lot of researchers, they do their best. Like, it is sort of, it feels like a necessary evil. And it's the same thing with, like, clinical testing. A lot of it feels like a sort of necessary evil. Like, there's no other real way to actually try to solve these things. I'm honestly really glad I'm not in the medical industry, because I can imagine I would be literally daily, constantly just, like, struggling with finding, because, like, every corporation, the longer you're there, the deeper you go, the more absolute piles of garbage and shenanigans you find in everything, in the processes and stuff, and, like, things piled on top of other things, and things that people are doing but they don't know why they're doing them anymore, but they have to do them this way, or things that were decided, like, ages ago and now it can't be changed, but people are finding loopholes around it, or people aren't finding loopholes. And, like, there's some times where, like, oh, we have to go through clinical trials and do all this stuff. It's like, yeah, but, like, we know it works, and, like, some people want to take it. Can't we just give it to some of the people who want it and, like, are actually dying? No, you can't. And, like, it makes sense, because then it's too easy to, like, totally claim that that's what was happening, and it's so complicated. I would definitely have so much trouble finding out about this stuff, like, legitimately. Especially, also, I know how overworked doctors are, especially in the US. I know how, like, there are so many points of failure in the entire medical industry, because it's an industry. And it's sad, and it's amazing and a miracle that we managed to get anything done ever. And that's true everywhere. Like, every single time we accomplish something big, it's basically always just a miracle, because the amount of red tape and stuff people had to go through to even get to the point where they could attempt to do the thing in the first place. And then the fact that it even works, despite the fact that I know people are just like slapping stuff together and hoping for the best because we need that released now. Whew. We're just monkeys with typewriters. In a way, it's just, I don't know, like, if the monkeys can read, do they write it faster? If the monkeys are trying to write Shakespeare, does it happen faster or slower? And that's the thing. Like, you think about that, and it actually could go either way. I don't know if there's like a mathematical way to do it, because it's not truly random. And if they're trying, then they might get closer. But at the same time, if they're trying, then they also might continue to repeat the same mistakes over and over and over, which makes it less likely to actually get there and take more time. Pin Becky, yes, this is a pin. It's true. Game research, more game gambling. Yep. Oh, yes, it's true. There are... Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. I already know. There's so many reasons that you can't really sleep at night. And I still sleep at night. I do, because in the end, you just can't worry about all the things. We can't hold all the things. We're not built to hold all the pieces of information about everything. We're not we're not supposed to be able to do that. Like, what we're supposed to be doing as humans, as like surprisingly capable animals, but still animals and emotional beings and creatures, we're supposed to be focusing on our local community and trying to make better the lives of people around us. That's what brings us joy and satisfaction. That's what we're supposed to be doing. But there are so many reasons why we can't, and so much of what we consider our community has been either disassembled or dispersed, and in so many ways, so many people are just isolated. But also, we have this opportunity, paradoxically, to be more connected with more people than we ever have been ever. There are more people who we can make their lives better, but also more people who we can make their lives worse, and vice versa. So, trying to wrap your head around all the everything that is being a human is impossible, especially for a single human who can only hold as many thoughts as the experiences of you have right now. So who knows? And we all just, most people just do what they can. There are absolutely some bad actors. And there are some bad actors who have way, way, way more power and influence than they should have. But most people are really just trying to do the best they can with what they have to survive, and to maybe just a little more than survive if they can. That's it. So I guess this guy's gonna make me have big thinks about stuff. That's where we're gonna go with this particular guy's story. So that's fun. And ethical gacha. I understand that and I appreciate that, but I also understand that that is so difficult. How do you do gacha without gambling? How do you remove gambling? Like, the basis of gacha is literally it makes so much money because of this random effect. How do you remove that without just making it pay to win? Plus also, like, oh man, there's this YouTube channel, Moon Channel. They had some really interesting YouTube essay, like long form essays about gacha games. And they also trick you into learning about like Korean history. And it's amazing, and I completely 100% recommend it. But also this just points out so many other problems with gacha that isn't just the gambling. There's so much going on there. Yes. The very existence of this new wonder drug was still a secret. No doubt, Okoshi's leadership would be reluctant to see Osawa, the drug's lead researcher, transferred to another company. Still, it wasn't completely outside of the realm of possibility. Once the antiviral was out of development and announced to the public, Osawa would be in the free and clear. For that very reason, he was loath to cause any friction over the drug right now. This anxiety only magnified his concern about the email he just received. Yes. Kira, is that the one about Christian games? I feel like I saw that one, but I don't remember it, and I should probably watch it again. Okay, yeah, I should watch that one again, honestly, because, yeah, Puritanism, super fascinating, and, like, if you watch the gacha game one, you're gonna get, like, even just the first one. It's good if you watch both, the gacha game part 1 and 2, but, like, it's gonna give you a lot of insight on Asian culture specifically, and especially Korean culture, and this one will give you some more insight into American culture, which, oh boy, let me tell you, I have been thinking and recently and chatting with people about, like, how different cultures are in ways that will, like, just sneak up on you in, like, the ways that they view the world and the ways that, like, they're raised in, like, little bits and pieces of how they approach problems and how they see other cultures through their lens, not just of their culture themselves, but the culture of how they view other cultures as part of culture. And all of this, the longer I live outside of the United States and the more people I meet from other countries as well, because I do actually still meet a lot of people who aren't from Poland. It's just because Europe would be like that, and it's just super easy, especially if you're an English speaker. You just end up talking to lots more people from all over the place that just, like, whoa. Yes, axiomatic differences in frames of reference, completely. And it's fascinating, and it's so, like, you can learn so much about it by just talking to people, but still then you miss the angle of what it feels like to actually have lived even a fraction of it. Completionist drama. I haven't heard about this one. I mean, I've only watched some of the videos. Listen, when I recommend a channel, or at least some videos from a channel, I don't usually go and look up every single video about this person ever. I just know what I know. And I know what I've enjoyed. Oh. That's interesting. Oh, because it's like that. Oh, okay. Makes sense. I was just looking at, like, the Japanese characters on the thing and how that would work. Soa called up Tanaka over the intercom. There's something I want to show you. Could you come in here? He needed a second opinion, and Tanaka could be relied upon. Osawa opened the door the moment Tanaka knocked. He looked around before ushering his vice director inside. What's this about, sir? This. Osawa showed him one of the images. He still has the exact same facial expression. Look at Osawa. I don't think he has other facial expressions. Maybe we'll see them later, but for now, that's all he's got. He is a man with a heavy burden. Tanaka's face went pale. Can't be. Tanaka clearly recognized symptoms of the Uwa virus. Any idea what this is about? Osawa asked. No, sir. These images were just emailed to me. The subject line says 1 year ago, South Africa. That would put it around the same time as the most recent run of infections, wouldn't it, sir? Osawa. That information isn't... Tanaka trailed off. Osawa nodded. The thing I don't understand is why these pictures were sent to me. Osawa opened the other email from Ah. The second message, it says, these pictures are my crimes. I'll look into this on my end, sir, Tanaka said. He hesitated uncomfortably. Sir, just to make sure are you asking about what I think you're asking about? Tanaka gave a slight nod. Understood. Don't worry, I won't trouble you. I appreciate that, sir. Visibly relieved, Tanaka left the study. That's suspicious also. Osawa brought up a folder marked Uwa virus on his screen. Within the folder were enlarged images of the virus itself. He double-clicked on one of the images. It blew up on the monitor to reveal the pathogen in intricate detail. A specimen of the Uwa virus was approximately 100 nanometers in diameter. 10,000 of them in line would take up barely a millimeter. But a single, tiny virion upon entering the human body could become 2,000 an hour. That speed of multiplication was nothing short of slow. Oh yeah, these are all 3 completely different genres of TV show so far. 4 of them, all 4 of them that we know so far. Completely different. Even the Ebola virus had a typical incubation period of 7 days or so before infectees developed symptoms. Ebola virus, a virus of the family Filiovidae that causes Ebola hemorrhagic fever. Currently, 5 characterized species are known. Ebola is widely known for its high mortality rates, 53% for Sudan form, 88% for Zaire, but the Reston variety, discovered in monkeys that had been brought in the US, has displayed no pathogenicity in humans. Influenza, it was 1 or 2, but the onset of the Ua virus happened in a mere 12 hours. Osawa viewed an image slideshow of the virus's propagation mechanism. It was a fascinating sight, no matter how many times he looked at it. Viruses existed to multiply, nothing more. They had no motives, no driving logic, nothing but simple multiplication. To Osawa, that fact held a certain air of mystery. If viruses had emotions, how would they feel about their lives? He had thrown himself into virus research in search of answers to questions like that, answers no man could truly know. His development of the antiviral agent had really been nothing more than another job responsibility. He felt no particular sense of duty to protect people from a killer virus. He was just happy for a chance to play around with Ua day after day. It does sound like some kind of crazy mutation, honestly. Another email arrived in his inbox. The sender. The subject line, 1 year ago, South Africa. Again, Saw read the messages. Do not look away. These are your crimes. This time, there were 4 images attached. Osawa proceeded to open each of them in turn. The first shocked Osawa so much that he felt like he'd been punched in the head. One of the Ua patients from the earlier images was being injected with something. No, Osawa muttered to himself. It can't be. The second image showed one of the infected, hunched over in pain, vomiting up blood. The symptoms had already manifested, but Osawa thought he could see that some degree of life had come back into the patient's eyes. He rushed to open the third image. It showed a morgue piled high with corpses. The rictus of anguish on the dead faces make them look no longer human. Plague ink intensifies. I got the windows mixed up. You know, it can happen to anyone. I wonder if people who work in virology play these games. Various fluids seeped from the eyes and nostrils. The lymph nodes were grotesquely swollen. Lymph nodes, they're everywhere. They're little fun balls of stuff. They like to get swollen if you're sick. Doctors will definitely check your lymph nodes if you're sick. This is welcome to my Jellycat talk. Okay. Small organs that function as part of lymphatic system in mammals. When a foreign substance invades the body, the lymph nodes detect it, prompting the production of white blood cells known as lymphocytes and macrophages to consume the invader. A viral infection sometimes causes the lymph nodes to swell up as a result of increased activity. Also, fun fact about lymph nodes. Lymph nodes, unlike blood, do not have a circulatory system. There is no heart to pump fluid or anything through the lymph nodes. So how does fluid move through the lymph nodes? It's through your muscles, through your muscle movement. This is actually why it is important, if you are a little bit sick, to do a little bit of movement to help your lymph nodes flush things through. So little bits of movement, super, super important, because otherwise everything just stays where it is. So that's a thing I'm adding to this. Like, keep that in mind. It's fun. You can look up more information about it. But yes, lymph nodes don't magically move fluid through to each other. Completionist charity events, he said, proceeds go towards people found out they didn't pay them in 10 years and just had them on charity accounts. Interesting. I don't know nothing about this, but that is interesting, that's for sure. There were hospital beds stained with massive amounts of blood and gastric fluids. Next came the fourth and final image. More corpses. They had badges affixed to their chest with various labels. 6 hours passed, 12 hours passed, and 18 hours passed. It looked as if someone had been attempting live trials with the antiviral agent. Osawa didn't consider the antiviral agent ready for release, but that was because his team hadn't conducted clinical trials on humans yet. There was a good reason why such trials hadn't been conducted. There was no way to test the efficacy of the drug without an infected patient. To run a proper clinical test, someone would first need to be infected with the UA virus. No matter how effective animal testing had been, if the drug proved ineffective on humans, that person would have a guaranteed death sentence. This is why installing lymph pumps would be one cyborg upgrade. Truth, fact. This would be honestly very good for transhumanism for sure. Run a blood filter more efficiently. The lymph nodes aren't just for blood. Lymph nodes don't just deal with stuff inside blood. There's no blood inside lymph nodes. So actually it would have to be two separate systems. But filtering and improving liver, etc. would actually be a huge upgrade. Liver, it does a job very well, but also has a lot of struggles with a lot of things. And if you give it too much, it overloads. And then it doesn't, and then takes a long time for it to fix itself, maybe never. Yes, this one is definitely seems to be having some things that's like, it's like, this is your crimes, but like if he clearly didn't greenlight any sort of clinical testing because that's terrifying and super unethical overall. Unless the person, I guess, already had it, you might as well give it to him then. It was unthinkable to run trials that involved such a deadly risk. And yet, as he looked over the images again and again, Osawa became certain. Without his knowledge, someone, presumably someone from Okoshi Pharmaceutical, had conducted human testing with the antiviral agent. The time markers on the corpses in the fourth image were surely set there to mark the time elapsed since the onset of symptoms. A thorough trial would test the drugs. Oh, it's a prediction? What's a prediction? I don't know what the prediction is. Fun. Will we end the segment before the stream ends? No. Let's find out. Those time frames. Japan will allies a dude who tested vaccines on a child. Oh yeah, that would be bad. Didn't do fraud. The guy lost his following his channel died. Oh. Still, didn't know about that. Sawa slammed his fist on the desk enraged. This was nothing short of vile human experimentation in the guise of clinical testing. The people responsible could not be allowed to get away with this. There was only one person Osawa could trust to keep this under wraps, his boss, Makino. He reached for his phone to call Makino, but he stopped short as soon as he picked up the receiver. He knew he was in no state of mind to have a calm, reasoned conversation right now. Turning to the CD player, he put on Aya Kamiki's latest album. Leaning back in his chair, he surrendered himself to her soothing tones. Bit by bit, he could feel himself returning to a calmer emotional state. There had been a time when Osawa hadn't listened to music at all. In fact, he'd had no interest in the arts in general. Music, painting, cinema. It was only due to a simple coincidence that he'd found Aya Kamiki. His daughter had asked for a CD as a birthday present, so he'd swung by the store to pick one up. Since Kamiki's new album had just come out, there was a display for it in front of the shop. Something about the bright, colorful album packaging had drawn him in. Expected to the same list. Yeah, you never know. I just picked kind of a random. After a time, Osawa could feel himself growing calmer. He took a nice, deep breath. He dialed up Makino. He closed his eyes, tried to banish his nerves completely. Nah, you should have some thoughts. Has there been any progress? Makino asked as soon as he picked up. His voice was somber. No, Osawa said. Nothing much yet. A tiny sigh came in from the other end of the line. I see. Then what can I do for you? Sir, I'll just get right to the point. Have you conducted clinical trial? Well, that's a terrible idea to ask that. This is going to bad end territory pretty instantly. Have you conducted clinical trials using the antiviral drug? Makino didn't respond right away. What makes you think that? He asked at last. Osawa described the emails he'd received. When he'd finished, Makino let out his breath in surprise. Not over the phone, he said. We'll discuss this in person. I'll head over to your place when I'm done here. As soon as possible, sir. As soon as I can manage, Makino said. You're not the only person who's busy. Hello, Ribsticks. I'm doing pretty good. We're learning about viruses. Well, more accurately, we're following a virologist and his adventures through life. This is more direct means teaching students that sometimes scientific discovery should take precedence over ethical concerns. Yes. Among the materials found in standard elementary curriculum is an account of the discovery of a Jennerian vaccination that emphasized the virtue of putting progress ahead of ethics. Yep, in 1796, English doctor Edward Jenner performed perhaps some of the most controversial human experiments in the modern era. Yeah, that's Jenner and Meiji Band. Yeah, no, human experimentation is terrifying and generally very super unethical. Like, a lot. There was no doubt about it. There had been human testing. Osawa went to let Tanaka know he'd been meeting with Makino. A stolid-looking man stood in the hallway, almost as if he'd been waiting for Osawa to emerge. This guy's terrifying. Pardon me, Mr. Osawa, but could you come with me for a moment? The detectives assembled in the living room all wore grave expressions. The room was brimming with tension, and Osawa felt it ramp up even further as he entered. What is it? Something happened? The man who had come to find him turned to speak, hesitating at first. Yes, it turns out that your other daughter, Hitomi, has been... It's real... Okay, I mean, I knew it's related, but now it makes sense why he was in no mood for this sort of thing and why the... Okay, it's his daughter. Okay. Has been abducted by an unknown party. Abducted? Sawa's mind whirled. What are you talking about? Maria's the one who's been abducted. No, sir, you don't understand. I'm saying that Hitomi has also been abducted, in addition to Maria. Don't be ridiculous. The night before, his daughter Maria gets kidnapped, and this morning his other daughter Hitomi gets carried off when she goes to deliver the ransom? He'd never heard of anything more outrageous in his life. Sorry, sir. A detective was with her, but... The police went on to explain that Hitomi had somehow managed to end up all by herself, and while she was alone, several individuals had forced her into a car and driven off. Well, that's not true. That's not how that happened, but... The worst week, yep. Sawa could barely comprehend what they were saying. His mind was in a fog. The detective's words seemed to grow quieter and quieter. Sawa's strength drained from his body. His ability to process external stimuli began to drift far, far away. This is not possible. It can't be. Could no one keep them safe? Not me, not anyone. My girls, they... Tomi, Maria. It's not true. This is all just a bad dream. Some kind of sick joke. It's not true. It's all just a bad dream. It's just a lie. It's a twisted joke. Someone made this all up. Stop it. Stop it. Stop saying this. I don't want to hear it. Tell me it's all a lie. Tell me it isn't true. Now tell me, please, this is a nightmare. Tell me, please, this isn't true. It's not just... Shut up, shut up, shut up! Slowly, the ceiling began to spin, and Osawa's vision would wash with white. Bad end. The worst case scenario. Select the hint. Osawa had a complete mental breakdown when he learned that not just one, but both of his daughters were kidnapped. But surely there has Has to be someone who can keep Hitomi safe. She's been on the run with Achi, but just what are they up to? The key to changing her fate and her father's lies with Achi's decision at 11:05. Okay, there's some more decisions. So, okay, this happens later. All right, we got 2 bad ends so far. I feel like we're doing this in the wrong order, but part of what makes it fun. Okay. This is a person we don't know. We're going to unlock the person we also don't know. The milkmaids who contracted smallpox. Oh my god. Yep. It's him. He did the thing. The Super Cub 90 raced down Route 246 for Shibuya. The Super Cub 90 is a motorcycle produced by Honda with an 85cc engine displacement, a common sight around town, often used by newspaper and postal delivery workers. Many owners are big enthusiasts, sometimes even swapping out parts, such as the handlebars or mufflers, and giving the body a repaint, resulting in fashionable bikes that don't look like Super Cubs at first glance. The speedometer remained a steady 60 kilometers per hour. Pumping the gas harder was no use. This was as fast as the bike would go. Minorikawa shouted as he sped along. Damn it, I am not letting you die! He jerked the handlebars and blew past a truck on the inside. The driver scowled at him as he shot by. You maniac! You trying to get yourself killed? Just the opposite, Minorikawa shouted back. I'm saving lives! The stoplight had turned red, cutting him off at the intersection. Oh, come on. He had no choice but to slam on the brakes, but his agitation boiled over as he waited for the signal to change again. How long is this thing gonna stay red? Hurry up already. He brought the bike right up to the very edge of the line, keeping the engine revved like a dragster ready to peel out. Right? This is what Getty Images wish they had us now. Yes, absolutely. This is some high quality imagery. High quality, top tier. Not on time is not in my dictionary. The light turned red. Then Minakuri's own light turned green at last. He hit the accelerator as hard as he could. His engine died with a sputter. Huh? Oh, come on, what the hell? Car horns blared angrily behind him. In a fury, he pulled his bike over to the side of the road. Look at this cute little friend. No matter what he did, the engine refused to turn over. Was the problem with the spark plug, or maybe the battery? Whatever it was, he didn't have the time to figure it out now. With tears in his eyes, he left the bike, his companion of 10 years, abandoned on the roadside. He was about to break into a run when he saw a taxi dead ahead letting out a passenger. He hurried to hop into the cab. Just head for Shibuya Station. I'll let you know exactly where once we get closer. The taxi driver nodded coolly. Of course, sir. 10 minutes. I need you to get me there in 10 minutes. The driver grimaced. I'm afraid getting there in 10 minutes is a bit. 15 then. Sorry, that's still. Look, that's all the time I can afford. Assuming traffic conditions cooperate, sir, then maybe. Can't make any promises. Inoikawa looked at the driver's ID photo above the fare meter. His name was Hachiro Kimizuka. He was a middle-aged fellow, looking a little rough around the edges. Mr. Kimizuka, I chose you for this. You can do it. Chose me? Sir, I'm pretty certain we met by chance. Okay, sure. I suppose you could phrase it that way. Anyhow, can we get going? Right, Kimizuka said with a faint sigh. I'll see what I can do. Taxi pulled away at a decent clip. Minorikawa's frantic journey had just started 20 minutes earlier. He'd been at home working on an interview piece. He clucked his tongue in annoyance as the ringing phone broke his train of thoughts. Why did someone always call right when the words were flowing? If he didn't keep getting interrupted, he probably could wrap this piece up in no time. Be quiet, he pointed at the telephone as he yelled. I'm writing here. But his shouting did nothing to silence the ringing. He didn't have much choice but to pick up. The topic of human experimentation, sacrifice in the name of science, was common in the Japanese detective and mystery literature. Yes. Well, obviously it makes sense. A counterweight to government encouraged science type. There is, I mean, I feel like you see a lot of human experimentation for every sort of every genre where there's a bad guy. You can see that as one of the things. It's like, oh well, we just experimented on humans, and it's like they're just obviously instantly the bad guys because it's bad is bad generally, you know. Speaking. There was no response. Hello? He hesitated, ready to hang up. Was this a prank call? It's me. It's Toyama. It was Teruo Toyama, the president of Heaven Publishing. Heaven Publishing, a publishing company that puts out both hard-hitting nonfiction books and tabloid-style scandal rags. The Invincible Journalist, penned by the company president Toyama himself, was a candidate for Japan Nonfiction Prize. Oh, what do you want? If this is about work, I'm already booked pretty full. He'd taken work from Heaven Publishing on several occasions, but the pay was hardly competitive. Lately, he'd been turning them down a lot, so we hadn't heard from Toyama in a while. No, this isn't work-related. Then what do you want? Kind of pressed for time here, working on some copy. Minorikawa was in no mood to beat around the bush. Seemed like every conversation he had with Toyama went like this. Ah, you're busy. That's good. Busy's good when you're a freelancer. Toyama sounded unusually sympathetic. Minorikawa found it off-putting. I hear sales have been good on your end, he said cautiously. With this month's 4-star General Gossip and all. 4-star General Gossip was a monthly magazine, Heaven Publishing's flagship publication. A magazine focused on the private lives of celebrities and politicians. Most of the articles found in its pages are random nonsense, but one of every 100 or so contains an actual major scoop, making it a difficult outlet to ignore. It had a small circulation, for the most part flew under the radar, but once in a while they'd land some big scoop and sell like crazy. This month's edition had come in with a free scratch card, a gimmick that had moved 100,000 copies with ease. 5 winning symbols in a row wins 100,000 yen, was it? Minorikawa asked. A weak, moist sound came through the receiver. Baffled, Minorikawa listened more closely. It came again and again. It sounded like sobbing. Mr. Toyama, are you crying? There's another soft sob, then yet another. What's going on? Where are you? At the office, Toyama managed. He let out another mewling whimper. What's the matter? It's nothing. It's gotta be something. Come on, what is it? Toyama gave no reply. Mr. Toyama, are you still there? Silence. What is it? What happened? Look, doesn't tell me anything. What the hell is going on? Toyama squeaked out a drawn-out whine. Okay, I'm sick of this. I'm hanging up now. Minorikawa was about to break the connection when he heard Toyama murmur. The one and only thing I can do now is die. Yep, that is super sus as heck. Taxi lurched to a sudden stop as the driver slammed on the brakes. Minorikawa pitched forward, his face smacking against the back of the seat in front of him. Kimizuka stuck his head out the window. Careful, buddy, shouted at someone on the streets ahead. You're gonna get yourself killed. Minorikawa blinked the stars from his eyes and saw a man moving along the cab. The guy grabbed on the handle of the back door. Please, I need you to let me have this cab. No way, Minorikawa snapped. Just who did this guy think he was? Please, I'm begging you here. Look, I'm in a hurry, pal. Get your own cab. I know how ridiculous this must sound, but please, this is really, really urgent. Urgent? Yes, it's a matter of life or death, please. I did look pretty desperate. If my cab, my rules. Look, I'm sorry, but I'm dealing with something urgent here, too. Let me ride with you. I'll pay for the whole fare. My entire future's on the line here. This guy sure was persistent. Maybe he was telling the truth. But Minorikawa had problems of his own. Sorry, buddy, it's life or death on my end, too. Gotta look after me and mine. Right, so sorry to trouble you. Finally, the guy gave up and shuffled away. Guess it couldn't have been that much of a life-ending crisis after all. Minorikawa checked his wristwatch. Damn it! This just cost us 5 minutes. Try to make it up, sir, the driver called back. The taxi lurched into motion, the engine quickly revving up to speed. Once inside the building, he avoided the elevator in favor of rushing up the stairs. Heaven Publishing rented out the 3rd and 4th floors. In all likelihood, Toyama would be at the editing department of the 4-star General Gossip on the 4th floor. It's true, the hour on the movie, yeah. The moped was not doing it. When he got there, however, the door was locked. Mr. Toyama! Hey, Mr. Toyama! He shouted and bang. There was no reply. Something was seriously wrong. Norikawa took a deep breath and kicked the door in. Whoa! The sight as he stepped in the office filled him with horror. Norikawa clutched the sides of his head. Too late. Oh no. If only I'd gotten here a little sooner. Dead end. Just 5 minutes. For a rush to Heaven Publishing. He didn't get there in time to save Toyama, and sad to say, it was really all Kano's fault. Why did Kano want a taxi so badly? Check his 1110 timestamp and the situation might become clearer. Oh, it's very grim. Well, we have to find out with all these characters. Let's go to Kano, see what he wanted. As he wandered through the back alleys, Kano gritted his teeth. Going after the guy on the bike had been a bad judgment call. Yep. By the time he got back up onto the pedestrian overpass, the man who'd thrown the attaché case was almost out of sight. Kano prided himself on being fleet of foot, but he knew even he would never catch the guy before he disappeared. He'd followed the culprit as far as the alleys, but there he lost him completely. All he could do now was hope one of his colleagues caught the man on the motorcycle. Kuze's voice crackled through the earpiece. Mobile Command Center calling all units. The suspect on the motorcycle has handed off the case to an accomplice in Miyashita Park, another foreigner. For real? Kano muttered. One thing immediately struck him as strange. Why hand the case off to someone else at all? Why not just escape on the bike? The man with the motorcycle dumped the bike and fled on foot. We'd retrieved the bike and run the plate, and we determined it was a stolen vehicle. The advanced police communication system is carefully maintained. By using the digital wireless systems in their patrol cars, officers are able to directly access the station's computer network, allowing them to quickly check to see if an individual is on the wanted list or if a vehicle is stolen. Still don't have enough details to positively ID the suspect. The suspect now carrying the attaché case is heading through Dogenzaka, also on foot. Got him under observation. Dogenzaka, huh? That wasn't too far from where Kano was now. It's like we're dealing with a foreign crime syndicate that's familiar with Shibuya. All units head to Dogenzaka. But do not, I repeat, do not attempt to apprehend the suspect with the case. See where he goes. Kano nodded to himself. Without knowing more about the crook's MO, letting this guy go for now was probably the only right call. I just want you all to know one last thing. Yuse's tone grew more solemn. Whatever happens, I know I can count on each and every one of you. Don't disappoint me. Over and out. Kano had the unsettling feeling that the message had been meant for him. Right, it's now or never. The sudden appearance of this syndicate and the bizarre actions were rapidly moving things beyond the jurisdiction of both the MPD and the local police. Mustering his resolve, Kano headed for Dogenzaka. Kano pulled out his cell phone out of his pocket. It was Rumi calling. She knew full well he wasn't supposed to take private calls while he was working a case. If it was an emergency, he decided to pick up. Rumi? I'm sorry, are you in the middle of something right now? Kind of. Is this an emergency? Well, yeah. So I'm in Shibuya right now, and... Shibuya? Why does she have to be Shibuya now, of all times? So, my father came down from Nagano all of a sudden. What? Rumi's father, Shizuo, had been staunchly opposed to the two of them getting married. Kano had visited his home many times, but the man had never even deigned to meet him. Yeah, he told me he wants to meet with you. What? Now? Kano blurted the words out with more alarm than he'd intended. I told him you were busy working, but he said he'd wait. This can't be happening, Kano whispered to himself. I'm sorry, I know I can be demanding. It's not the issue. Your dad offering to wait made it harder for him to refuse. All right, Kano said. I'll have to call you back later. Yes, his girlfriend is real. I'm sorry. I'll be at a cafe called Lautrec. It's by the train station. We hung up. For a long moment, Kano stood in a daze, staring at his phone. If keeping up with the case wasn't stressful enough. Here's the thing. There is no way. I already know the answer to this one. Her father will never respect him if he ditched anything with his job to meet with him. Absolutely not. 100%. At last he stumbled into motion, but even as he scoured Dogenzaka for any sign of the criminal, his mind remained fixed on the meeting with Rumi's dad. There's no way of knowing what needed to be done with his casework today. Could he really pass up a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get her father's approval for her hand in marriage? Odds are this will not be the only once-in-a-lifetime experience Detective Kano winds up having today. I love that. That's the best tip. That's the best tip. Maybe he could slip away for just a bit. There were plenty of detectives still tailing the suspect. Taking 15 minutes or so to meet with Shizuo wouldn't be such a big deal, wouldn't it? Let's give him the bad end. This is my big chance. I should go meet with Rumi and Shizuo while I can. It's now or never, Kano decided. His future happiness depended on winning over Shizuo. He might not have the opportunity later if the kidnapping case wound up going south. You just have to make sure he didn't linger too long. He was trying to decide the best way to save as much time as possible when he caught sight of a taxi passing by. Oh, this is... okay. He stepped down onto the street to flag the cab down. The station wasn't too far away, but it would be faster to take a car than to run there. The taxi screeched to a halt. "Careful, buddy," shouted the cab driver through the open window. "You're gonna get yourself killed." Looking more closely, saw there was already someone in the back seat. Well, crap. He hadn't considered the cab might already be taken. Great proof of writer's maturity. They can weave silly, jokey. Yep. Yes. Absolutely. I love it. They do such a great job of this. He didn't have time for another to wait for another to come along. Kano leaned in close to the back door of the taxi. "Please, I need you to let me have this cab. Beggars can't be choosers, after all." "No way," snapped the passenger. Didn't seem to be the genial type. "Please, I'm begging you." "I'm in a hurry, pal. Get your own cab." I know how ridiculous this might sound, but please, this is really, really urgent. Urgent? Yes, it's a matter of life or death. It's not, though. Please. I'm sorry, I'm dealing with something urgent here, too. I'll be right with you. I'll pay for the whole fare. My entire future's on the line here. Sorry, buddy. Life or death on my end, too. Gotta look after me and mine. Kinda could see this was going nowhere. Right, so sorry to trouble you. Taxi sped away. Kano scanned the area looking for other cabs. Instead, he spotted the man with the attaché case. It was a stroke of dumb luck, but Kano wasn't going to lose sight of him now. He decided to follow. Further up along Dogenzaka in the direction the perp was headed towards, where Yamatadori joined Route 246. Maybe the guy was planning to meet up with the getaway car. No, wait, hold on. If that were the plan, why would the gang have ditched the motorcycle earlier? Kano started tailing the man, racking his brain all the while. The suspect turned down a narrow side road. He wasn't heading towards Yamatadori or Route 246 at all, but back towards Shibuya Station. What in the world was going on? It was just starting to feel like the crooks were just messing with the investigation team. Kano radioed Kuze on the wireless. The police wireless system is digital in order to make transmissions more difficult to intercept. There are several different channels available, including the basic local channel, a common channel for contacting other nearby patrol cars, channels assigned to specific precincts, action update channels for ride squads, and so on. There is also separate channels specifically for kidnapping cases, not on the standard wavelengths. Sir, I don't think there's any point in seeing where this guy leads us anymore. It's not your call to make, keep watching him. Sir, this is a waste of time. That girl might be in danger if... Kano's argument was cut short. He saw a man hand off the attaché case to yet another foreigner. Again? How many times are these criminals going to pull off this trick? The detectives broke into two groups to follow both of the men. Kano followed the man with the attaché case, who eventually led him back to the area around Shibuya Station. Rumi and Shizuo should be waiting in a nearby cafe right now. Kano tried to remember the name. That's right, it was called Lautrec. The cafe where college student Ryoko Kakinuma works as a waitress, named after 19th century French painter Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec. He created numerous works, including many posters, book illustrations, and book covers, which are highly regarded in the art world. He kept his eye out for a place by that name as he tailed the target. How long did he spot the cafe? Its large plate glass windows offered a view of the cozy interior. The sign out front read, Lettres. Looked like this was the place. The man with the case was at the intersection, waiting for the light to change. Kano took the opportunity to peer inside. Spotted Rumi right away. She was facing away from him. So the man seated across from her must be her father. Kano realized he'd never even seen a picture of him. Shizuo grew organic produce up in Nagano nowadays, but until 2 years ago, he'd been a detective within the investigation MPD Investigative Division, responsible for handling crimes such as murder, kidnapping, arson that take place within the Tokyo metropolis. Truly exceptional officers are assigned to this division. They are regularly dispatched to various regional task forces to aid in investigations, where their talents and experience often prove critical. The position of section chief is traditionally given only to dedicated personnel well-versed with crime scenes and organizational administration. Oh, I wonder if it's like... Ruby looked up to her father for his distinguished police career and always spoke quite highly of him. Kano figured that if he became a policeman, Rumi might appreciate that it was this simple impulse that had led him to join the force. He also figured that public servants could stay afloat even in times of recession, and that his physical training would serve him well in such a line of work. Once he was a policeman, he thought, he could approach Shizuo with his head held high and ask for his blessing in marrying his daughter. But after Rumi graduated from university, Shizuo had up and retired from police work. Even Rumi didn't know why he'd made the decision. Kano had traveled to Nagano many times to ask Shizuo for permission to marry her. The only response he ever got was, "I'm not giving away my daughter to any cop." Kano had never gotten past the intercom before her father turned him away. Years on the force had nearly made Kano lose sight of what had driven him to become a policeman in the first place. So many foreigners, right? You could hit into a local, make it much harder to find. The chance to meet Shizuo face to face had finally come. He peered intently at the cafe. Across from Rumi sat an older man with a grim expression. Just who was this hard-faced fellow? It took a lot to rattle Kano, but this guy looks scary. Could this really be his sweet little Rumi's father? The prospect of meeting with him later filled Kano with sudden dread. The man who went into the JR Shibuya station stood before the ticket machine. Looked like he was planning on boarding a train. A scene from a popular movie about kidnapping sprang into Kano's mind, where the crook had made off with the ransom money after it was tossed out the window of a train. What if this guy managed to get outside the dragnet and pull a stunt like that? Looks like the suspect is going to board a train. Kano informed Kuze over the wireless. Make sure you stay on his trail. Apparently, Kuze still wanted to string along the perp for a bit. Got the lizards ready to pursue. Lizards! Motorcycle squads. Police lingo. Nice. Let's re-establish our dragnet around whatever station he gets off at. The man purchased a ticket from the machine and passed through the gate. There was no way to tell what station he'd bought a ticket for, but looked like he was heading clockwise along the Yamanote line loop. Kano used his prepaid card and made his way through the ticket gate as well. Visitors do not actually get free rides on public transportation simply by flashing their badges, and is frequently depicted in TV shows and films. Doing so might risk alerting the suspect. For this reason, prepaid cards are provided ahead of time. An announcement chime signaled the imminent arrival of a train up on the platform. The man made his way up the stairs, looking calm and composed. He showed no signs of checking for pursuers. Kano hurried after him. The man stopped at the very edge of the platform to await the train. Not ideal. There was no way for Kano to get close without sticking out like a sore thumb. The train glided up to the platform. The man gave a quick look around and he stepped aboard. Kano followed. Trains on the Yamanote line didn't stop for long, and soon they were on their way. Glancing around, Kano noticed other MPD investigators who had slipped aboard the train as well. Suspects stood behind the driver's compartment, staring contemplatively at the scenery outside. The man's composure only served to rattle Kano more. A man in a gaudy necktie walked past Kano, talking on his cell phone. "Yes, everything's going fine on this end," he said. "There's no need to worry." In his other hand, he carried the same sort of attaché case as the man they were tailing. He headed right towards the driver's compartment and stood next to the suspect. Well, now that's not suspicious. Kano leaned his head subtly, straining to make out what he could of the phone conversation at the other end of the car. Yes, of course. 225 pages, all fully proofread. 225? Article 225 of the Penal Code for Japan details kidnapping for profit and kidnapping for ransom. Accordingly, 225 is police shorthand for kidnapping. That was police jargon for kidnapping. Was this guy in cahoots with the kidnapper? Maybe the criminals had planned an attaché case swap. Kano watched the newcomer like a hawk. Rather than making contact with the suspect, the man turned around and strolled back the way he came. He hadn't done anything suspicious at all. Yes, right. Understood. Kano stole a glimpse of the man's face as he passed. He stopped and looked at Kano, seemingly aware he was being watched. Kano decided to stare him down, look away nonchalantly. Which of the two? As Japan, it'd be weird. His anxiety got the better of him after his moment turned his gaze right back. Soon, the two men were locked in a staring contest. My apologies, the man said. He shut his phone with a click. I know it's rather rude to talk on one's cell phone when you're on a train. That's just common decency. The man affected a smile and headed back to his car, which he'd come from. Sheesh. Guess I overreacted. Gotta stop staring at everyone, an oddly dressed passenger murmured into Kano's ear. Blend into your surroundings more. Sasayama, when did you get here? His partner had somehow found time to change his disguise. The steely expression on his face was as odd with his anime nerd getup. That's a hell of an outfit, my guy. Kano had seen that Sasayama disguise himself as plenty of things throughout the years. Oh my gosh. Santa is a must for Christmas. Stakeouts with a smile. Keep presents in bag to calm down children in case of emergency. Oh my god. It's quite rare for Sasayama to actually wear a suit. On the rare occasions when he does, and he's walking around the halls of his home precinct, he frequently goes unrecognized. Here are some of Sasayama's costume designs from his evidence notebook. Hold on. We have to go back to the beginning. Okay, so we have this. This is his anime girl outfit, or his anime nerd outfit. Use this for train stakeouts. Don't forget the awkward smile. Filled with posters and figurines. Glasses are crucial. Bag of merch, prized possession, cluster chest. Going too far. Point is to draw attention in the crowded cars. Alright, we have the tragic expression. Disguise for stakeouts at dockside warehouses. Sunglasses. Suit and posture amplify the wild animal side. Let coworkers know beforehand so as not to be mistaken for the real thing. Okay, yep. Handcuffs up sleeve. Arrest crooks while practicing discipline. Might help stop funeral robbers. For nighttime stakeouts, we got the hardcore material, plenty of exposure, emphasize bulginess in final version. Oh my lord. Yeah, that's something. Chef, magician, samurai, and an astronaut, to name a few. But this was a new extreme, even for him. When he first joined the force, Kano had found Sasayama's costuming antics amusing, wondering where he managed to find his outfits, but lately his quirk had become tedious. You like the ocean? Never mind. Sasayama pulled a small bottle from his breast pocket. Drink this while you can. Guessing you haven't eaten. Huh? What's this? It's the least I can do. He handed Kano the bottle and slipped away into the next compartment. He'd pulled an all-nighter and hadn't eaten, so he was glad to have something. He took a sip. Whatever this was, it was bland. It almost didn't taste like anything. Just what had Sasayama given him? Oh, what the heck, anything's better than nothing. He brought the bottle to his lips and chugged the contents down. He suddenly got a massive head rush. He felt a heat like a burning that spread from his insides throughout his whole body. Oh, that wasn't right. It was an ache. It was a ferocious ache. A burning that spread from his insides to his fingertips, and there was pain. A numbing that spread from his insides all the way down to his toes. Burning, aching, hurting. Burning, aching, hurting. Twitchy, itchy, dizzy, sleepy, chilly, willy-nilly. This was not good. This was super duper not good. He broke into a cold sweat, his forehead drenched, his body damp and clammy all over. He felt his grip on consciousness slipping. Sasayama, what the hell did you do to me? With bleary eyes, he squinted to read the writing on the bottle. The burn? After a scant few letters, Kano blacked out. Bad ends. The least he could do. Kano blacked out after drinking an unknown substance without checking to see what it was. What he drank, it turns out, was a free sample of something called Burning Hammer. But don't blame Sasayama, he was just passing along the sample he got from someone in a mascot costume. Oh, yep. Well, I guess that would come to hurt us at some point. That's super funny. Okay. Alright, let's go to his time chart quickly, though, and... let's see if we can at least change one thing. Head to the cafe. How do I, like, go past this faster? No, right now I've got a job to focus on. Kano shook his head to clear out the foolish impulses. What the hell had I been thinking? A girl's life is on the line. Marrying Rumi was more important to him than anything. Now wasn't the time. Besides, now that he thought about it, running out on a critical investigation to meet with the old man probably wasn't going to score many points. His dad didn't strike of him as someone who'd approve of shirking. This is exactly what I said. Kana would just have to wrap this kidnapping case a little ahead of schedule. Then he could have a proper sit-down with Shizuo. As he considered his plan, he caught sight of the man with the attaché case. Yep, okay. I don't know if you have to, like, run through the rest of it, or, like, does the change... does the change happen already? Do I need to go through the rest of the dialogue, or how does this... Because, like... controls... Auto play off... Skip... Okay, scroll through text select answer. Okay. Don't remember. Okay, that's fine. Okay, cool. We can kind of do this. Kind of decided to. Stare him down. Ugh, my apologies, the man said. He shut his phone with a click. I know it's rather rude to talk on one's cell phone when you're on a train. Just common decency. Guess it didn't matter for that one. Okay, disguise. Gotta stop staring. Okay, I think I can do it from here. Should be different. Well, maybe. Not really. This part won't be different. I think he still has the bad end. Hold on, can we... How do we... Okay. So we have this, and now we need to go back to Tama. Handing out the samples. Who to choose. Try to force it on the businessman to the left. Here you go, sir. A free sample of Burning Hammer, the latest and greatest diet drink. The businessman flashes me a look of utter contempt as he makes a point of avoiding me, slips past. There goes the wind right out of my sails. I wonder how the other mascot's doing right about now. The sales demo happening at 1 o'clock at the Nakane building. Okay. Possibly be doing wrong. Okay. So... Okay, we have A now here. The cafe is set to B. Now let's go back to here. It doesn't really matter. Guess stop staring at everyone. Blend to your surroundings. Yeah, okay. Concentrate, keep your eyes peeled. These disguises are incredible. Kind of a pat on the backside, slipped away into the next car. The suspect, meanwhile, was still staring out the window. The announcer's electronic voice filled the train compartment. Next stop, Harajuku. Next stop, Harajuku. Huh? Kano almost cried out. The suspect was moving towards the exit door. Apparently, he was only taking the train one station down the line. The train pulled into Harajuku Station and the man got off. Harajuku, the area east of Japan Rail Harajuku Station, corresponding to stuff. Once a bustling shukuba or post station where travelers could rest while journeying across the country. In modern times, it bustles instead with high schoolers after school displaying flashy youth fashion. Flashy fashion. Okay. The clothing and accessory stores and fast food restaurants line the streets, meeting cutting-edge trends in youth culture get their start here. Detectives following him disembarked accordingly. The suspect walked along the platform and took a seat on an empty bench. Was he checking to see if he had a tail? Sticking around on the platform where you got off was pretty unusual behavior. Not wanting to arouse the man's suspicion, the investigators from MPD made their way down the stairs as inconspicuously as they could. Kano, however, had a sudden inspiration, wanted to speak to one of the station attendants. Okay. I'm gonna also, before I forget, I wanna... Story. Okay, so someone told Kano here. Kano's story will continue a lot. But... let's get him out of the bad end. The thing we can do now is back this. Okay, taxi tires squealed as the cab rounded a corner. Shift of momentum made Minorikawa topple over in the back seat. There we go, 10 minutes on the dot, the driver announced. Minorikawa righted himself and looked out the window. Shibuya Station. I knew you could do it, Mr. Kimizuka. Told the driver how to get to Heaven Publishing. It shouldn't be more than 5 minutes further. Sir, if I may ask, just what are you in such a hurry over? Son of a bitch. I beg your pardon? Kimizuka bristled. Not you, the guy who's waiting on me, Minorikawa said. I'm gonna give that son of a bitch a piece of my mind. Okay. I like really need to, okay, the bad end here was something with Achi, and then here was about the thing also maybe something with Achi. We don't know yet. We're kind of stuck in these parts, so we can kind of just pick whoever to continue. So let's continue this guy's story, actually, yeah. Because I can't remember what the other... like, what was the other thing we had to change? That's what I was trying to make sure that I, like, fixed the things that I could fix. But I basically fixed the 2 big things that I actually had access to. And then there's a whole thing that happens with Achi that I don't know about yet. But if I start to try to do that now, that might be a bit difficult. So we're just going to try to take this to where we were. I don't think... you can't reread from every part. You can reread from... only from those things. The little books. Get that son of a piece of my mind. Let's go. Get in there. The multi-tenant building where Heaven Publishing and its offices came into view, the taxi stopped outside. Minorikawa opened the door as he hurriedly reached for his wallet. Then he stopped. What if the worst had come to pass and he needed to take Toyama to a hospital? Should he have the taxi wait here, or would it be better to call an ambulance? Sir, is there a problem? No, I'm fine. You're a lifesaver. How much do I owe you? Minorikawa paid the fare and got out of the cab. I'm going to swing by the train station. If I don't get any passengers, I'll come by this way again, Kimizuka said. The taxi pulled away. Once inside, he avoided the elevator in favor of rushing up the stairs. Penguin Publishing rented out the 3rd and 4th floors. In all likelihood, Toyama would be at the editing department of the 4-star General Gossip on the 4th floor. Probably gonna be a thing that the taxi either needs to be there or doesn't need to be there, but we'll see. When he got there, however, the door was locked. Mr. Toyama! Ah! Something was seriously wrong. We kicked the door in. Whoa! Yep, 5-minute difference here. Toyama was standing on a stool, about to slip his head through a noose that hung from the ceiling. What the hell are you doing? Yorikawa lunged for Toyama. 2 men crashed to the floor in a tangled heap. A pile of clutter slid off a nearby desk and fell on top of them. Yorikawa, what are you doing? Toyama whined. Dragging himself back to his feet proved to be something of a challenge. That's what I'd like to know. Yorikawa's fury was mounting. What the hell is this all about? He jabbed an accusing finger at the noose hanging from the ceiling. Oh, that. One of the fluorescent lights died, then I was just swapping it out. Liar, don't you feed me that bull. What was that phone call all about? That business about the only thing you could do was die? Tell me. Ha ha ha, just a joke. Toyama curled his lips into a faint semblance of a smile. Yorikawa wasn't buying it, but he didn't have time to press the issue. A cute little voice echoed through the editing office. Daddy, I'm back from the store. A little girl came walking in and carrying a length of rubber gas tubing. It was Toyama's 5th grade daughter, Hana. So he planned on having his 5th grade daughter finding him? I'm so upset. Toyama's only daughter, currently 10 years old. The night Hana was born at Shibuya Central Hospital, there was an unexpected fireworks display outside the window of the maternity ward. As he looked out at the bursting rockets, Taro decided to name his daughter Hana after the Japanese word for fireworks, Hanabi. Yorikawa stared. Toyama? You were planning on using that hose to... He hesitated to end the sentence with gas yourself to death. Well, you know, it's almost gas heater season after all. The hell it is! It was a beautiful sunny April day outside. You know how sensitive I am to the cold. This was getting truly ridiculous. Yorikawa got right up to his face. Listen, just explain to me. What the heck is going on, okay? He kept his voice low, but his eyes were steely. Hana clung tightly to her father, gazing worriedly up at the 2 men. No, it's just... Toyama let out a long, heavy sigh of resignation. Oh, okay. Keep out. You'll need to jump from another protagonist. Yep. A man named Junichi Yamashita shows up in Tama's story. Okay, 11:20. He lets out a sigh, just like Toyama's. Try taking the tip for this sigh. Interesting. Okay, I guess we need to go to Achi's story, but also... Okay, so we're at a bad end here, a bad end here. Keep out. We can actually continue with Kana. The train pulled off into Harajuku Station and the man got off. The detectives followed him and disembarked accordingly. The suspect walked along the platform and took a seat on an empty bench. Was he checking to see if he had a tail? Sticking around on the platform at a station where you just got off was pretty unusual behavior. Not wanting to arouse the man's suspicion, the investigators from the MPD made their way down the stairs as inconspicuously as they could. Kano, however, had a sudden inspiration and went to speak to one of the station attendants. Sorry to bother you, but I think I left something on the train just now. He tried to keep an eye on the man on the bench as he fed his story to the attendant. The suspect sat silently on the bench, attaché case clutched securely in his arms. He didn't really look like he was checking for a tail. Was he waiting here for someone else then? Before long, a train heading counterclockwise around the loop arrived. The man rose from the bench and stepped up to the boarding area. Wait, what the heck? This guy got on the counterclockwise train. Wouldn't that just take him right back to Shibuya Station? The man boarded the train. Kano had no choice but to follow suit. It'd be really funny if he was just a foreigner and just straight up just got on the wrong train because he has no idea where to go. Like, he's trying to go somewhere and he gets here, he's just like, dang it, I took the wrong train. This is not where I'm supposed to be going. The suspect got off once again at the train reached Shibuya. Had he done that, all he'd done was go into Harajuku and come right back. Kano reported Nikuze. Suspect has returned to Shibuya Station. Acknowledged to keep tailing him. Kano felt himself growing increasingly paranoid. This criminal organization didn't seem too keen on getting away. Here was HQ, giving these guys free rein. Something was off, he was sure of that. As he tailed the mark, Kano took out his phone. What was Tateno's instincts about this case right now? If the senior detective had any advice, Kano would love to hear it. He dialed Tateno's number. The line rang a few times, but nobody picked up. Probably he was too busy seeing Hitomi's safety. Kano felt bewildered. They'd been letting the suspect lead them around for over an hour now. During an abduction case, you generally didn't update the victim's family on any developments in case they tried to interfere. Kano could only imagine what the Osawa's family was going through right now. After a short walk from Shibuya Station, the attaché case was handed off yet again. This time, the recipient was a tall, dark-skinned man. Again, the Shibuya-based task force split into two groups in order to tail both suspects. Kano stuck with the man who had the case. As the previous man had done, the newest suspect wandered around Dogenzaka for a while. Repeatedly looping around and around the same locations was a weirdly roundabout way to make a series of handoffs. Excuse me, detective? Kano turned around with a start. Oh, hey, I know you. It was Leland Palmer, the lecturer who had been an eyewitness to the kidnapping. The man practically radiated concern. How's Maria doing? Is she alright? I am, very worried for her. His Japanese is more halting now. My heart, it is with her family. Kano gave a quick look around. Didn't appear they were being watched. Maybe Palmer knew more than he told the police earlier. As soon as his responses, my cover's blown. We're hosed. I can't stick around like this. It means suspicious, so, like, let's do it. Maybe Palmer knew more than he let the police know earlier. If you want to talk to him now, he might get some additional clues. Actually, Leland, do you mind if I ask you a few more questions about the party where the kidnapping occurred? And squared his shoulders. No, please, ask anything. You know what time Maria showed up at the event? Leland hesitated, thinking, probably around 6 o'clock? She was there when it started. Is there anyone else who stood out? Stood out how? Like someone you usually wouldn't expect to see there. Leland tilted his head. No, I don't think so. Everyone there was a student from my class, including the exchange students. Not much new here, Kano thought. He had to ask one last question. Did you happen to hear why Hitomi was running late in the first place? Oh, no. Sorry, I'm not very helpful, am I? Leland dipped his head in apology. It's alright, thank you for your cooperation. Please help Maria. I will. Kano parted ways with Leland and went back to tailing his suspect. He pulled his phone from his pocket. It was Rumi again. It was weird she called twice when he knew he was in the middle of something important. Had something happened while she was waiting at the cafe with Shizuo? Kano picked up hurriedly. What's the matter? What's the matter? You know what the matter is. Rather than Rumi's soft soprano, it was the threatening masculine voice that came over the phone. Uh-oh. Kano felt his whole body stiffen with dread. Is this my father-in-law speaking? Don't remember being anyone's father-in-law. The speaker's tone was firm and flat. No, I know, Kano found himself at a loss for words. So you're dating my daughter, huh? Sir, yes, sir. Kano barely squeaked out his reply. Thinking about getting married? Yes, sir. Speaking of which, I'd love the chance to sit down and have a nice long... And how long are you going to keep me waiting? Hurry up and get your ass over here. Oh, how very much Kano wished he could do exactly that. Ah, sir, I would, but forget it. Words came in an angry huff. You can't have her. Goodbye. Wait! Sir, please wait. Kano cried in desperation. He heard Rumi's voice on the other end of the line. Dad, you can't just use my phone like that. We're taking too long in the bathroom. Give it back! Rumi? Kano tried and failed to keep the heartbreak out of his voice. Sweetie, what's wrong? Your father just said he doesn't want us getting married. What, Dad? What did you say to my boyfriend? Listen to you, calling that boy little pet names and whatnot. I think you're a little too attached. Daddy, you haven't even met him. That's why I told him to come see me. How long's he gonna make me wait? Kano listened as the two argued on the other end of the phone. The phone must be lying somewhere between them. Did this get any more awkward? Me, I'm sorry, Kano shouted apologetically to the mouthpiece. This is all my fault. Please, you don't have to fight like this. The phone clattered as Rumi scrambled to bring it to her cheek. No, I'm the one who should be sorry. Sorry for what? It was Shizuo again, grumbling in the background. You have nothing to apologize for. I'll deal with my father, Rumi said hastily. You just focus on work, sweetie. I know you're in the middle of something really important. Thanks, Rumi. Kano was legitimately touched. I'll do my best. Alright, we're stopping here. We're stopping here. Because we know what we're doing here, and if we stop somewhere else where we get to the full end of this, then I won't remember what I'm doing next time. So this is a good place to stop. Right here at this funky moment where he's in the middle of a kidnapping case, and oh my god, her father is like, you know, he could have tried to schedule something instead of just assuming, oh, well, I'm super important, therefore you have to be available right now. He tried to meet him multiple times. Why right now? Why right now? That's like, I don't know, that's ridiculous. Either way, I hope we can help him, honestly. But still. Dealing with a father like that sounds like a huge pain, that's for sure. Anyways, so thank you all for hanging out with me today and enjoying this fun adventure into Shibuya Scramble. We'll be continuing as normal next week. It should be a super fun adventure, and I'm really enjoying this. I'm like super enjoying this. This has been just a super fun time. The story is interesting. The talks we're getting from this are interesting. Like, I'm sure there will be some moments where it'll be annoying that I have to repeat certain parts of it, but like I'm kind of getting the hang of the controls a bit more to repeat as little as possible. So we'll see. We shall see. I look forward to seeing how everything will turn out for all these characters. And see you guys next week. Good night, everyone.